Salutations, my name is Summer, and this is Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. And I skipped this last month, so I just want to go over everything that I've read and I'm currently reading, which seems to be a lot of the same things because two things I'm reading are quite long. And anyway, we'll just get to it. Okay, so first thing first. Midnight Bayou by Nora Roberts. So I DNF'd this book. I didn't get very far in it. I only got to page 60. But I know that Angie at Literary Labors and Rainey at Rainy Day Reads, I'm hoping they fill me in with everything that went on that I want to know about. So they are having their book club, Bitter Single Ladies Read Romance, this Sunday at 2 on Rainey's channel, Rainy Day Reads, and I'll link it down below. So if anybody's interested in watching that, 2 o'clock this Sunday. I know I'll be watching. Okay, the second book I want to talk about is Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. I love this book so much. And how I heard about it was from Kayla at The Spontaneous Reader. It's not The Spontaneous Reader, Spontaneous Reader, and I'll link her channel down below. This was a book that she really liked. So I thought, oh, it sounds interesting. And I loved this book. Absolutely loved it. It was hard for me to read because it's about being mortal, and as we get older, not even that, when we get hurt, there's certain things that we need, and what is more important to us, to the individual. What's the most important things? There's questions that you need to ask yourself. So anyway, it was such a great book, but it definitely pulls at the heartstrings, and it has a lot of hard questions, that these are things we need to be talking about, even though we would just rather avoid it until we can't avoid it anymore. So, loved it. Thank you, Kayla. Okay, so the next thing I read, I was so looking forward to, and it was okay. The Lost and Found Bookshop by Susan Wiggs. Okay, there were a lot of great things in this book. I loved the book references. Anytime bookshop, bookseller, books is in the title, I get excited. And I really enjoyed those kind of things. There were 2 books in here that I loved, and I can't think of what the other one was right now. But one of them was, when I was a little kid, there was a book called, I'm not even sure if this is what it was called, but throughout the whole thing, he sang, and I mean it, Stanley. And it has this big red dog, which whenever I have tried to explain this book, people say, oh yeah, Clifford. I'm like, no, it's not Clifford, it's Stanley. And the little boy everything he says, it's like a little kid who says, don't give me attention, don't pay attention to me, but that's really what they want, So he's constantly saying, and I mean it, Stanley. And I love that book. I'd love to read it again as an adult. Anyway, it's mentioned in here, and I haven't heard anybody mention that book in person or read about it. There was another book in here that I loved, and I can't think of what it was. But I hated the romance. Absolutely. In the beginning, it was fine, but it just kept getting worse and worse. But that's how I am about this kind of romance. I don't care for it at all. And one thing that really bothered me was the characters were inconsistent with their own personalities. So it's like once you sleep with somebody, your whole personality does not have a complete change over. I mean, I would hope not. I would hope you would be the person you were before that, but it was just so, I don't know, it was so cringy. But I read the whole thing, and it's an okay book because there were things that were good about it. So if romance does not bother you, then you may really like it. Okay, another DNF. So I tried, but I did not have the patience. I started Macbeth. And I love the witches part. If I could just keep just skipping to that, it would be fine. But I just did not have the patience. So I thought, okay, I will um, watch the play. And I couldn't stand that at all because I felt like his writing was very flowy. And the play I was watching or movie or whatever, it was just brash and loud and sharp, 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 and very fast. It's like, what does that even mean? I need it to like slow down and pretty it up, not be that harsh. And I didn't get it. And I kept getting this bad feeling about it, like just this. I don't know how to explain it. So maybe next year I'll try another Shakespeare for Shake Tube, but it did not work out this year. Okay, these books are so silly. And my mom always says, why do you listen to those? Because they drive you crazy. But this is my one and only exception about I love to hate it. So I will yell at the character and I'll be like, oh, yeah, sure, right. I do that with this. And this is, I think, the 25th book. This is Coconut Layer Cake Murder by Joanne Fluke. they're not very good. I mean, I guess if you like I said, I don't like romance, and so I feel like you don't have to worry about any romance in this, but because that's one of the things that really irritate me about these two. But anyway, when the next one comes out, I'll get it and I'll listen to it for as long as she does it, even though I don't really like them. I don't know what it is. Okay, so the next thing I listened to is The Language of Butterflies by Wendy Williams. This was really good. I loved a story about there's a butterfly called Big Blue, Large Blue, Big Blue. Anyway, it was really popular in England, and it was becoming extinct, and everybody was freaking out, like, this is such of a beloved butterfly. Why is it becoming extinct? So I hate scientific experiments that I feel like are ridiculous. But I love when scientists observe because I feel like that's where they really find out the information. So, one second, I'll get back to the Big Blue. But they will paint the antenna of the butterflies. Be like, I wonder what happens if we paint their really experimentation like that just drives me crazy. The same thing with, like pouring chemicals into rabbits' eyes and having their eyes clamped open, and they don't have tear ducts like we do. And I mean, I just hate stuff like that. But I love when people observe animals in nature. So, the Big Blue. When they were observing it, they saw that the caterpillar would get its fill and then it would drop to the ground and it would just wait there. Like it was just being still and just hanging out. And all of a sudden they noticed these red ants coming. And they picked that caterpillar up and they took it back to its home, and a colony, however you want to call it. And they fed it and they babied it and they took care of it. And when it became, went into the chrysalis and it came out as a butterfly, they carried it like the queen was out of the home. And the butterfly went free. And it's like, wow, really? So then they had to, of course, keep watching, and they noticed that that wasn't always the case. So there's 5 different species of red ants, and the caterpillar would call to them. That's why it was waiting. It was making a sound, of course, that we can't hear. And it was calling to these red ants, and it sounds like a queen in distress. So if they take it back to its colony and there's already a queen, there can be trouble. If they take it back to its colony and its mimicry isn't the best, then it can become dinner too. So, and there was only one species of the five different species of red ant that would do that with the big blue butterfly. So, I love stuff like that. I find that fascinating. It started out where it was just talking about how people loved to kill the butterflies, have them pinned all over their walls, and I just was thinking, oh no, please don't make this whole book be about people who just like to collect things, because that bothers me too. That was one of my issues. I don't know. And I'm all congested today. I don't know if this weather is, I live in Ohio. I don't know if the weather has been getting to you guys, but it was warm today, but it's been cold, and you don't really know, gotta wear layers. Anyway, I've noticed it's like seasonal stuff. Okay, the last thing I listened to was the Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner. I wanted to really love this because I love Jane Austen. I love anything about Jane Austen. So, but it was okay. It was pretty good. I should say it was pretty good. It wasn't, I don't know. I wanted it to have more about Jane Austen than it did, and but that's not what the book was about necessarily. So I just have to take it as it was, and it was a pretty good book. Okay, so now I'm just going over what I'm currently reading. I'm still reading Survival, the first book, by Julie E. Chernetta. I'm only 300 pages in, so I have quite a bit still to go. I'm really enjoying this still. It's a slow read. We have these little spurts of like excitement, and then it's slow again, which I like slow. I like slow books. I'm just surprised I'm just surprised she doesn't know more about aliens, or that aliens don't know more about humans, because I don't know, it just all seems weird, and I don't want to tell you why I just found out that the aliens don't know much. Well, I don't know. I never know what to tell you guys. But apparently, the Dryan, they don't know that humans need to drink water and eat, and they bathe with water, and because they don't need it, they don't need that. Their bodies, everything's different with what they need. So, and when this is Bryn, when he came to Earth, she didn't know anything about his species, and I just think that's weird, because I think most people will be like, oh, there's a new species we found out about. I want to know everything. But she didn't care. She wasn't interested. So, and that kind of makes me think of like a scientific mind, in a sense of where she just wants to focus on salmon, like that. It's how her brain works or something. I don't know. But it's really good. So, Bless Me Ultima by Rudolfo Anaya, maybe Anya. I thought this was going to have to go back to the library, and I was able to renew it. And I'm really glad, because I read a couple more pages. I'm only on page 26 now. But I think this is going to be really good. I just haven't taken that time to sit down and just focus on this. So, but it's really good. Something just happened too that is just whoa. So I'm excited. The last thing I'm reading still is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. And of course, this is going to go into October, which I don't mind at all. I'm really glad that I'm taking it slow. I'm only on page 202. So that means I've, like last month, it means I only read maybe averaging out like 7 pages a day. And it's not the story, because I think the story, I'm really enjoying it. It's the print, to be honest with you. At night, when I'm reading it and I have it propped up on my chest, this little tiny baby print, it's a little difficult for me, but it's worth it. So anyway, yeah, so I'm not far along at all when you think about the whole story. So, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to reading it in October too. So, anyway, I think that's everything. And here's Sylvie. Randall's over there. Mayfair's laying over here. It's a nice, calm day, I think. Anyway, please let me know what you guys are reading this week, how you're finishing your, I think this coming week, it turns into October. So we're coming to the end of September. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys are reading. If you have any thoughts about any of these books, also let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.